What's up, gente? What's up, Raza? I have a question. What is Trump and why is Trump hiding after attacking Iran? And I'm talking about Trump, Donald Trump, the President of the United States, the most powerful person on earth. He's got the military and the Congress that bows down to him. He's got the Supreme Court that pretty much, has given him the right to do whatever he pleases. We're going to talk about how this is an illegal invasion, number one. We're going to talk about how he didn't even go to Congress. There's three dead soldiers as of now. This is just the start of things. This plan backfired on him. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how he thought this was going to, basically have the people turn on the government. That backfired on him too. It didn't happen. Matter of fact, there's millions of people out there, protesting Trump and cheering on the dead leader. Uh, Bibi Netanyahu, who the hell is Bibi Netanyahu? We're going to learn about him. It's something that a lot of us know about, but do we really know about him? Do we? And what does he have to do with this war and Israel specifically, the country of Israel that we all know is Israel? We're going to talk about how this is a distraction. A lot of politicians do this. They've all done it, but this one more than anybody, this is a distraction. Number one, from the Epstein Files. Number two, from a horrible economy, and finally, it's a distraction from the incompetence of how he carried out these ICE raids and ICE all over America and what they did. He had to get away from that ugly image of ICE on the streets, because let's not forget, everybody. There's a war going on right now in Iran and all over the world. There's wars, but there's a war going on right here within the United States of America, and we are the target. So let's not forget that. And finally, I'll keep reiterating and stating my point that he needs a reason to steal the upcoming elections. If he can't get the elections, if he can't stop the elections, he will steal the elections through trick or through force, either tricking people into allowing them to do it, or through forcing people to allowing them to do it. And I think he's going to do number two. He's going to force people. So let's start out. So again, Donald Trump has invaded Iran. The talks were happening. It didn't look like it was going to happen, but they knew all along they were going to invade Iran. Iran has never had a nuclear weapon, and that's what the reason supposedly that he invaded Iran was all about. Is that they wanted nuclear weapons? That's not even true. They've always said they didn't want nuclear weapons. Even Barack Obama in 2015, when he was president, got a deal where Iran was abiding by not producing nuclear energy other than to have it for electricity, which every country pretty much can do. They never were producing a weapon. So this whole thing about invading Iran and the talks about how how they weren't going good. Of course, they weren't going good because Iran agreed to everything, but the team that Trump has out there, including his son-in-law, right? Two real estate guys. What do they know about human rights, politics, and war? They don't. All they know is about selling property, stealing property, actually. So that's who you got out there negotiating for the United States. So this whole thing about Iran having a nuclear weapon, being away from a nuclear weapon, a week away from. They've been saying that since 1979, when the United States got the hell kicked out of them, and they got forced out of Iran after 20 something years of a dictator rule under a puppet rule, the Shah of Iran. If people don't remember, I did a video on the history of this. The United States in 1953 went in there. They overthrew a democratically elected leader that Iran voted for, that the people of Iran voted for. And once he started taking steps to nationalize the oil and nationalize the country, in other words, self-determination, something everybody would like, every nation would like and should have. Nope, they went in there under the CIA, and they overthrew this man. He died in jail, and they put in their puppet called the Shah of Iran. Now, this Shah of Iran, later on, he ruled until people got sick of him. They kicked him out, kicked out the United States as well. So this did not start in 1979, as even Donald Trump went on television to say this is why we did it. And he didn't go to 1953. No, he went to 1979 and started accusing them of being a terrorist country in 1979. Totally forgot about 1953, right? So let's remember that, people. This is an illegal war, But they always knew they were going to do this. He always knew he was going to do this. And his party, they got no backbone. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, will do whatever Trump tells him to. And so this is an illegal war under Article 2. The president can't just wage war. He can manage the armed forces, but he can't invade a country without the permission of Congress. And the reason I say that is because people are saying, well, many presidents have invaded countries. And that's true. They've invaded, gone in there. But this fool went on television. And if you haven't gone back to check the receipts, he said it's a war. He called it a war. He said regime change. He said he wanted the leader out of there. He specifically check what he said. So there's no going back on that one. He specifically invaded the country to start a war, to kill their leader and have whatever reason to start a war. And I'll get to that later. So this is, for all intents and purposes, this is an illegal war, invasion of a sovereign country. No matter what people think of their leadership, no matter what people say about how they have an Islamic religious rule, what do you people out there who support Trump think? Or even if you don't support Trump, what do you people out there who right wingers or who support the United States think that they're trying to install here and create here? It's a white nationalist Christian government. That's what they're trying to install in the United States of America, a white nationalist Christian government. So even if you're black Christian, brown Christian, any Christian whatsoever, you're not part of that class. They want it to be white. So keep that in mind. You talk about a Taliban. The United States has been the biggest Taliban terrorist organization in the world has ever known. And they've been doing it for a long time. So to call this regime in Iran terroristic is hypocritical. So it's an illegal invasion. Let's put that out there. And now again, the question I want everybody to ask is, why is Trump hiding after attacking Iran? Why? Where is he? He loves those cameras, right? He loves talking to those, the reporters. He loves, putting down those reporters who ask him the wrong question, who dare to stand up to him, who dare to point out the facts, right? He loves checking them and putting them in their place and gets ugly, especially with the female reporters, right? Well, where's he at? He loves those cameras. Where is he at? The only times he's made statements is on what Truth Social, that Troth Social, whatever that means, Truth Social. That's not a statement in front of the cameras. And then when he did make a statement, he ran off. He is hiding. So let me get down to the other reason why he's hiding. There's dead soldiers and more to come. We don't know who those soldiers are. They haven't released a name. It's my understanding there's also casualties who are hurt. So they're not dead yet. So there's a possibility there's actually more than 3 dead soldiers. So he's hiding because he's going to have to answer to the family of those soldiers. He's going to have to answer to families of the military. He's going to have to answer to why did they have to die? Why did they have to die? They didn't. That's the point. Why did they have to die? Because what he wanted to do something spectacular, get his name out there, and distract us from everything that's going on here in the United States. So just a heads up, everybody. There's 3 dead soldiers and more to come. And my question is, where's his son? Where's his son? He's a 19-year-old kid named Baron. Yo, punk, he's not even a child anymore. That's a man. He ought to be out there. If anybody's kid should be out there, it should be Donald Trump's kids in the front lines. But nah, all they're gonna do is hide behind poor people who are gonna fight this war. Poor people who are enlisted in the military for various reasons, whatever reasons. They didn't enlist to go fight a rich man's war without having a reason. But that's exactly what's happening. This plan has totally backfired on Donald Trump. That's another reason he's hiding. He said that the people would go out there and take their government back, whatever that means. That the people hated the Ayatollah, the guy he just killed, the elder he just killed, who led that country. He said that the people would welcome the U.S. as heroes, that they would be happy. It totally backfired in his face. Totally backfired in his face. Those people aren't out there celebrating. You saw a small hand people celebrating on the news, a small hand. Then you saw a million people in the streets protesting what Trump just did. Think about it. This is no different than when what happened in Venezuela. You saw doctored pictures of people in Miami celebrating, but not in Venezuela. Same thing with Cuba. Saw doctored pictures or pictures that weren't real people protesting on the streets, but it wasn't what actually happened. This is also propaganda wars, people, information wars and propaganda wars, where they got social media deep fakes and everything to make certain things look a certain way. So this backfired on him. He thought the people were going to come out and overthrow their government, and he told them a couple, what was it, last month in January actually, to come out there after he told them to take to the streets, and they were out there. They A lot of them got killed, and he told them America's on their way. What and to do what? To overthrow, their government, to say who's going to rule, who's not. Who are we, United States of America, and for all intents and purposes, who is this country to tell other countries and other people how to run their country? So again, going back to the question, why is Donald Trump hiding after invading Iran? Where is he? He loves those cameras, right? He loves to show, take credit for whatever happens. But where is he? Okay, let's think about that. Here's another reason. Something happened twice already. I've been watching this since the start of the year. Right before Maduro was kidnapped, the president of Venezuela, somebody visited the White House. His name, Bibi Netanyahu. Who is Bibi Netanyahu? Because he also visited the White House right before the invasion of Iran. So Bibi Netanyahu is the prime minister of Israel. Israel has been wanting to destroy Iran forever. Matter of fact, anybody who challenges the state of Israel, the country of Israel, he wants, and they wanted the U.S. to do something about it, because the truth is, everybody, Israel shouldn't even be a country there. Israel does not belong there. It's an occupied territory. The United Nations and countries throughout history and throughout every year, they vote that it's an illegal occupation. Israel is an illegal state. The state of Israel should not be there. So Bibi Netanyahu, the current prime minister, and others, but specifically him, has wanted the Iranians, has wanted any other government that's opposed them, or called them out on what they're doing, their war crimes, to be gone. And sure enough, it was only a matter of time before, this so-called never wars president, right? The peace president. Talk about a clown. We got a clown show in the White House, tries to get mad because, well, he didn't get the peace prize, and look what he's been doing, and he thinks he should have got a peace prize. That's a clown right there. Well, then again, you vote for a clown, that's what you're going to get. It's a clown. But Bibi Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, the guy whose country arms the cartels in Mexico and arms other groups around the country, the world, by the way, the Zionists, and Zionism is a racist mentality who carries out what's called apartheid. It's a discriminatory, racist system that believes in extreme state of Israel. That's who Bibi Netanyahu. That's his mindset. Well, he's got problems back at home. People forget that because he's been in power for a while now, and people wonder, well, what's going on? Well, he's been under investigation. He should have been arrested. His own people wanted him arrested. The people were protesting in the millions before October 7th, when what do you call, Hamas supposedly started a war against Israel, which, by the way, I say supposedly because it didn't start October 7th. That started way back. We're talking about a war that goes back to the 1800s or early 1900s. This war that's been going on forever, October 7th, when that happened, Netanyahu used it, and the extremists in his party used it as a reason to stay in power. He will go to prison. Netanyahu will go to prison, and was supposed to go to prison. So it is to his convenience to have a war, to have an invasion of Iran or any other country for that matter. It is to his convenience. That way he can stay out of jail. And his buddy Donald Trump, who, by the way, a lot of people believe that Mossad, which is a secret police, everybody knows about them. They train police officers all over the world, especially in the United States, on how to control people and how to basically kill people. Mossad probably has dirt on Trump, and that's the belief. Mossad has some dirt on Trump, so Trump's probably like, well, got to do it. And I think that's exactly what's going on. He thinks he's got to do it. But the point is, Bibi Netanyahu, this prime minister of Israel, should have gone to prison before the invasion, or the October 7th, what they call an invasion of Israel, where several people died when the Hamas came over the border. It was a planned attack. But keep in mind, there's a whole bunch of backstory to that. So don't believe the hype and don't believe the lies of how that started. But he should have gone to prison prior to that. But he was happy that happened. And to top it off, he knew it was going to happen because he created Hamas. They created Hamas as a way to pit the people in Palestine and the government against the other governments who they didn't like. This is no different what the United States does in Latin America and Mexico with the cartels, with the presidents. No different than that. The U.S. has been doing that as well, divide and conquer. So Bibi Netanyahu visited the White House right before the attacks in Iran and right before the attacks in Venezuela. Again, there's reason. Oil. That's another thing. And we'll be looking at that, and we should be looking at, because some people think that their oil is going to go down, that prices are going to fall. Nope, nope. And I'll get to how this serves as a distraction in just a bit. So keep that in mind. Bibi Netanyahu is a good friend, or at least an ally of Donald Trump, and he's been, Israel's been funded by the United States for years, and the Democratic Party, their leadership is a bunch of spineless, sorry losers. Chuck Schumer, the Senate leader for the Democratic Party, he's a big Zionist. He supports Zionism. Uh, was it Jeffries, of all things, a black man who is next in line supposedly to be Speaker of the House, leader of the Democrats in the Congress, another sellout to the Zionist Israelis. That dude is a big sellout, an embarrassment. But those two lead the Democratic Party. Those two supposedly lead the left. They supposedly what, represent gente? No, no. And so I'm talking about this because some people don't know the background, the history of this, the geopolitical, structure of the world. And Israel is a big part of it. And the Congress has been a big part of funding them and keeping them funded, keeping them, going. And the lifeline of money and weapons to Israel. And I'm not talking about guns. I'm talking about like serious weapons. That's been going on for a long time. And the Democrats are just as guilty for funding that genocide against the Palestinian people. So here's another reason why I think that he's hiding from the cameras. It's a thing called the Epstein Files. Now, people, if you've been living under a rock, if you still don't know what the Epstein Files are, it's a list, and it's a scandal involving some of the most powerful, richest, and actually powerful, don't have to be rich, people in the world, leaders and of countries, academics, mainly politicians from all walks of life, including Noam Chomsky, a leftist, supposedly anarchist, who is supposedly, the intellectual to the left. And then you've got all these right wingers, all these billionaires and millionaires around the world who love, having sex with kids. Basically, it's a pedophile ring. It's a pedophile ring. And the number one name on that pedophile ring is Donald J. Trump. He is the number one person on that pedophile list. And supposedly they were going to release the whole Epstein files. They have not been released. And each time they get ready to do something, a distortion or distraction, or Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, sends everybody home. Why? Because they don't want the truth to come out. Just last week, turned out that there were some pages that were missing. They literally took out Donald Trump's name. They literally took out evidence of his crimes against children. Think about it, people. It is a sick list of some crimes that have been committed, possibly horrible murders, along with the sexual assault and everything else that went on. But that's part of the distraction, is to stay away from that and not let it get out, because if it gets out, it already has a lot of his, some supporters of Trump, not a lot, but some, asking questions. They've been asking questions. They got into office accusing who? The left, the Democrats, of being, pedophiles, the Clintons. And yes, Bill Clinton is on that list too. Oh yeah, he's on that list too. Let's not let the Clintons off the list here, the Democrats off the list here. Yeah, but it wasn't just Clinton. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump is the number one person on that list, mentioned over 1 million times, but his name's been redacted by FBI agents. So they're trying to distract from all this coming out. Now, keep this in mind, people. I'm out here asking the question, where the hell is Donald Trump? Why is he hiding? Why is he not out there in front of cameras talking to people, to the nation, right? To the world, telling them why he invaded Iran? Why is he not out there talking? Because you got people whose kids are out there fighting these wars, who are died already. Why is he not out there? Because it's an embarrassment to him. He knows he messed up. It has backfired, and this is not just going horribly wrong for him, but it's also a distraction from all the horrible things happening here in the United States of America within these borders. And so, along with the Epstein files, I want you all to understand that the economy is bad. Believe it or not, according to statistics and everything, if under Biden we had a better economy. Think about that. Under Biden, the economy was much better. Under Trump, it's gotten even worse. Not only has the economy gone, horrible for him, the economy's gotten worse for him. We're living, and people are struggling day to day to buy groceries, struggling day to day to buy medicine, struggling day to day to pay for fuel, whatever, electricity, rent. Yeah, it's a horrible economy. And he knows it. So and despite what he says he's got the best economy. Yeah, if you're got was it a 401k, those kind of things, if you got money invested into Wall Street, then yeah, you're going to be doing okay. But that's not the majority of the people in the United States of America, people. So if you're listening to me outside of these borders, you probably don't understand this. So just understand, the vast majority of the people in the United States of America are not rich. There's a few people with stock portfolios on Wall Street where their investments and their money gets invested into these billion-dollar corporations, Fortune 500 companies. Yeah, they're making money, right? That's why Pam Bondi, this clown, the head of the Attorney General, the head of the law enforcement in the United States of America, when she went in front of Congress, when they asked her about the Epstein Files victims, the survivors, the Epstein survivors who were seated right behind her, she yelled out 50,000. The Dow hit 50,000. Everybody's like, what the hell is she talking about? She's talking about all the rich people, how we should be happy because, hey, Wall Street, hit 50,000. The vast majority of people don't even have money invested in Wall Street. So it's a distraction, not just from this horrible economy, which he said would be better. It was better under Biden. And a lot of us hate Biden. We didn't want Biden in the first place. Shouldn't have ran, by the way, but that's a whole different story. So it's a distraction from this horrible economy. And then here's another reason why it's a distraction. This war had to happen, but it's also a distraction from how horrible did with ICE here in the streets of the United States of America. Yes, there's a war taking going on right now outside of these borders. There's a war taking place in Iran and Venezuela and all over the world. The biggest thug and criminal organization to launch invasions to kill people to still has been the United States of America. It's just a fact. But there is a war going on in the streets of America. Let's not forget, ICE is not gone. ICE has not been abolished. ICE is still out there working. ICE is still out there arresting people. They get thousands of dollars for arrests they make, whether the people they arrest are quote unquote illegal or not, whether the people they arrest are who they say they are that they're looking for or not. If they bring in a body, they get paid. That's a money making scheme that where they got people out there, they're hiding their faces, they're all masked up, they got guns, crazy guns, and they're still going after people of color, black and brown immigrants. They're not going after white immigrants. Let's be honest about that. They ain't going after white immigrants. They're going after black and brown people. It's a racist war on people in America, people like myself and others. And that's why today I'm wearing my brown beret, because as a brown beret, we not forget. We gotta not forget that this is a war going on, and this war's been going on for a long time. But to bring out ICE and to use it the way they've been using it is a war on the indigenous people on this land. And it started when they came to these continents. They brought their slaves, and now they want us to continue being slaves. Remember, Donald Trump is building these mega prisons to put us in, to put not just the undocumented people, but us who protest, us who speak out, us who support the walkouts, the protests, the boycott, the armed self-defense that we're training for those of us who are training. This is something that we got to keep an eye on. And as organizations like the Brown Berets and all other comrades out there, you know, we are going to have to be at the forefront to make sure that we, one, inform our gente about what's really happening. And ICE is not gone. That is something that is really happening. And then two, how we're going to defend against this, because since ICE is not gone, that means they can still come to our home in their mask, and with their army military gear masked up, We don't even know if it's somebody trying to break into our homes, right? So ICE has created a situation where we might be invaded by somebody who just wants to, steal from us under the guise of ICE, and it has been done. By the way, it has been done. That's why we got can't let up. And as Brown Berets, we believe in something that a lot of other organizations don't. What distinguishes us from a lot of organizations is that yes, we support peace. We will march with Cesar Chavez. We often provide security for Dolores Huerta and other elders on the left. We provide security so that they will be safe. We will march with them in peace, but we also will not give up our guns. Those of us who believe in self defense, we will not give up that gun. We will not give up that right to self defense. As a matter of fact, the Brown Beret organization believes in militancy, self defense, and direct action. Now, with that said, I say that because ICE is still on the streets, and it means they're still out there masked up in their guns and with their guns. And if they haven't come to your home, they haven't come to our home. Uh, or if we haven't seen them in our town, that doesn't mean they're out there. So they botched that. They messed it up. They are so incompetent. They thought that ICE was going to go out there and do their job and nobody's going to say anything. We're lucky we got organizations like Unión del Barrio out there challenging ICE early in the morning with those teachers. And I personally know a lot of those teachers. My heart goes out to them. And they've been doing some incredible work. When school started, some of us teachers here in the Central Valley were doing the same thing they were doing at the start of the school year because we were afraid of what's going to happen here to our kids. Parents are afraid to send their kids to school and still are. So ICE has gone nowhere. ICE is still out there operating in the silence. So aside from the war going on outside, in the world where it's falling apart, there's a war going on, and it's a war against Chicanos and Chicanas, brown people, indigenous people of this land, and it's headed by Trump, and they're using the secret police called ICE. Right, so it's a distraction from how horrible that operation went for them, and it looked bad. And Trump knows he's a TV guy; he's a phony, right? He's not even a real actor. He's just what a reality show host, whatever. So he knows the optics look bad. It looked bad. And remember, why did he choose a lot of the people in his cabinet? According to him, they look good. They look great for the part. Supposedly, if you look good for the part, that's why he would choose you. Not how much you know, but how good you look. That is such a shallow way to run a country or run any organization, right? Much less the United States of America. But that's who he chose to help him run this country. And so the optics look horrible. Didn't know how to carry them out. Did they have? They don't know how to treat people, and as a result, ICE is still out there rounding people up. I want to conclude this with just a little bit more here, so people can understand why. I asked the question: where is Donald Trump? Where is Donald Trump? What is he? Where is he hiding? He loves those cameras. Oh, he loves those cameras. He loves coming out there, showing his face and talking, taking credit for everything, right? He loves going out there, taking credit about how great this operation went. And remember, when something doesn't go good, he blames somebody. When something doesn't go good, he fires somebody else. Remember, that's how he got his TV show. You're fired. Supposedly he's firing people on his TV show, and people love that because it's reality TV or some stupidity like that, right? But it is. You're fired. That was his famous line. And so that's what he does in real life now. Instead of taking responsibility, he's not a real leader. These rich people aren't real leaders. Keep that in mind. His favorite word is "you're fired." Should have fired himself a long time ago. But let's not forget, there's a war happening out there, and ICE is not gone yet, and we are still having to deal with that. And it's since it blew up in his face, now they're trying to do something else. But they're trying to do something else to to hide and carry out that operation along with their prison camps. Don't forget that they got these huge mega prison camps they want to put us in, right? But there's one more reason why he started this war. He invaded Iran and kill their leader. And I've been saying this for a while, everybody. Keep this in mind. He needs a reason to stay in office. He needs a reason to steal the elections, to cancel the elections, but also to steal the elections and to basically stay in office an extra couple of years. Because just like Bibi Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, who was afraid to go to prison because he should have gone to prison, guess who else is probably going to go to prison? And that's Donald J. Trump. He knows that if he today was to tell the truth, he'd be impeached. And this time, they probably, they'd probably rule or vote to send him to prison, or at least somebody would hold him responsible. And if not, either way, he's trying to start an illegal war. He's trying to distract and basically stay in power. He's trying to cancel the elections so that there is no elections. That way, he can just pass the baton to the Republican Party, who currently rules, and to his vice president, or Marco Rubio, Narco Rubio. If people know the history of Marco Rubio, he came up with the narcos. So yeah, they got, they got the nerve to accuse Maduro of drug trafficking. But yeah, he's going to pass his baton to somebody else, so that way they can grant him pardon, because presidents do that. They have that kind of power under the Constitution. So he's trying to steal the election. Now, isn't that ironic? Didn't he become famous on January 6, 2020, when he tried to stay in office, and when his own vice president Pence didn't go along with his plan to basically, steal the election? Then didn't people storm the Capitol? Yes, they did. Thousands of them. A lot of them were white, racist, horribly. I don't know what to call them, other than there were some racist people out there with some racist slogans, and there were some brown and black ones too. Yeah, but the vast majority were white men. I stormed the Capitol, and he pardoned them all. And so presidents have that kind of pardon power. So he's trying to steal elections to stay in power. He doesn't want to leave. He wants to make sure that the Congress stays under the control of the spineless Republican Party, right? The cult. It's basically become a cult. Anybody who knows anything about, cultish behavior, this MAGA is a cult. MAGA is a cult. Make America Great Again. It's never great to begin with. It's a cult. And so they're not going anywhere. They're going to just keep bowing down to him. And that's what he wants. And he knows it. And anybody, including, by the way, Marjorie Taylor Greene, that congresswoman is now gone. He turned on her. He doesn't have loyalty for anybody. And by the way, I don't give her any credit. I don't give her any credit. She was a racist clown herself. Her and all these other MAGA people who are now having regrets, supposedly, who are now seeing the light, that realizing, oh, it was all, I was brainwashed or whatever. No, you were still racist. You just happened, go along with the lie, with the lie you knew was a lie. So all those people who are leaving Congress, and those who are now challenging Trump as they leave Congress, they're only doing that. It doesn't take courage, knowing that you can't get reelected, or that you won't be reelected, or that you're retiring. So now you can come out, finally find your courage. The whole time you got no courage to talk. I'm sitting here talking to a microphone, risking the chance that I could be arrested any day now, risking the chance that I could be brought up on charges of sedition by Donald J. Trump as a brown beret, risking that chance. And these politicians don't take that chance. These politicians wait till the end before they, are about to retire or can't run anymore for whatever reason. That's not courage. Courage is those teachers that are out there as part of Unión del Barrio, checking on ICE. Courage is those brown berets who are out there training, with the people and educating the gente, and being there for the kids when they're walking out of school. Courage is the kids who walked out of school. That's courage. Courage is the farm worker, the vendor, any of those who film ICE, film the police, especially the little kids who watch their parents being arrested. That's courage. But these politicians, those politicians leaving out, especially MAGA politicians, they ain't got no reason to, they ain't got no courage there. Doesn't take much courage to now finally, as you leave the door, going to slam you in the back of the butt when you leave, to finally speak up. That's not courage. So again, I ask, why is Donald Trump hiding after invading Iraq? And again, it comes down to, this is an illegal war. This is an illegal war, and it's going to come back, and it already has, going to blow up in his face. And here's the worst part, gente. Not only are innocent people or kids, people's children, going to die, and three have already died that we know of, right? Three American soldiers have already died. Not only is the poor people going to be doing the fighting, but also it's going to have ramifications, and all over the world, including the United States of America. You're going to be seen just like that clown, George W. Bush. Let's not forget, this guy was stupid. I mean, literally, the guy was stupid too. And this is no joke. The guy used drugs, so he burned all his brain cells. And he literally was the dumbest, most dangerous president that we knew up to this point. I didn't think I was going to see somebody outdo George W. Bush, but yep, now we got George W. Trump. And George W. Trump, he's worse than George W. Bush. And the worst thing about what he has just done by killing the leader of Iran, by invading a country illegally, is that there's going to be some backlash. There's going to be some what's called blowback. The CIA uses that term. Blowback is when you do something, you know it's going to come back and it's going to have some after effects, and they ain't going to be pretty. They're going to be ugly. And sure enough, we're going to be seeing that. We're already seeing that around the world and even in the borders of the United States of America. There's going to be blowback and it's not going to be good. So he's setting it up where people are going to get, injured, hurt, and even killed. What is his family going to do? What is him and his kids going to do? Or I should say his children, because his children are grown men and women. They're going to kick it just like all of the wealthy people, and they're going to be able to stay away from, and stay in their luxury and stay in their homes and in their mansions and their islands. What in their security behind, secured walls, while everybody else has to live with the ramifications. So again, he is hiding because he invaded Iran illegally. He is hiding because it's blown up in his face. The people of Iran actually are mad that he killed their leader. They are not following Trump's supposedly, his call for them to take their government back, whatever that means. He is hiding because it didn't go as planned, especially since everybody knows that Bibi Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, was at the White House visiting him, and on each occasion, Trump has done something, including invading Venezuela. And by the way, that comes down to the oil, right? Because Cuba is next. They're going after Cuba next. They're going after other countries next, and Cuba may make crumble. It's crumbling as we speak, purposely. And as I sit here and speak to you, I know that I got friends out there. I got loved ones out there who I've known over the years. Uh, I think about them, and I know that they wish they could have a better life. But when you cut off the air, you cut off the water, you cut off the medicine, how do you expect people to survive? It's been going on for more than 7 decades, but under Trump, he's tightening up the ratchets, and now he's probably going to distract in another way. So I got a feeling Cuba's next, or another country, but for sure, I'm sure Cuba's on the list of countries to fall and governments to change. And so again, why is he hiding, right? It's a distraction from the Epstein files. He's number one on the list. Number one on that list. He's a distraction from a horrible economy, where people can't afford eggs. Of all people, you would think Biden would have a better economy than Trump. And yes, that is the case if you compare the two side by side. And then, unfortunately, we got to be honest and be honest about the fact that the Democratic Party isn't doing anything to stop them. They send them strongly worded letters. They claim that they want to get back into session and do something. Yeah, do all that, but when you have a chance to actually use your power, you don't. There's a thing called the filibuster. They can use that. They can get rid of that. The filibuster rule, or keep it. They choose to keep the filibuster. There's a lot of tools that they can use in Congress, which they're choosing not to use. And some Democrats are even calling to for the overthrow of other governments, including the Cuban government, including Venezuela, and including Iran. Some of them are even taking this cowardly position of, well, I'm glad this leader of Iran is gone. I'm glad he's dead. He's a thug. He needed to be gone. Oh, but it's not. I don't like the way we did it. That kind of take on thing is something that they've been doing for years. They talk out of both sides of their mouth. Either you're for justice or you're not. Either you're for self determination or you're not. Either you support democracy or you don't. And unfortunately, these Democratic Party leaders, including Chuck Schumer and Jeffries in Congress, they got no spine. They got no spine. And this is where people need to rise up throughout the country, organize, learn what's going on, learn. And if you got friends and family who still suffer from this mental disease called MAGA, you got uncles, grandfathers, parents, siblings who still support MAGA, wake them the hell up. They got issues. Wake them the hell up, slap them around, say, look, you're going to die. He's going to kill you. Remember, he told people to inject what, Clorox? Remember, he told people to do all these crazy stuff during the pandemic? Wake the people in your family or friends around you who still support MAGA, wake them the hell up, because they're going to be the first ones he sends to their deaths, either by telling them to do something or not do something, or by denying them something like medicine, right? Denying them something like food. He cut benefits to veterans. He cut benefits to single mothers. He cut benefits to children. He cut benefits of, like, including research for medication and things that will save lives, right? Cancer research. This man's out of his mind. By the way, as an educator, I have to say, he wants to destroy the Department of Education. Supposedly our schools, that Department of Education has got to go because there's too many woke schools out there. Supposedly, right? That one, you're going to have a brain drain, right? You're going to have some dumb people, and that's sad to say, but you're going to have some dumb people when you get rid of education. That's the last thing you should be getting rid of. But they do that. They're doing that. So wake anybody in your family up, because without education, without healthcare, something we don't even have, without research into healthcare, including cancer research, without these things, our kids are going to suffer, our elderly are going to suffer, and that's going to be you, those of you who still support this man, because MAGA is a mental illness. And I don't think it's too early to say this now, but they try to distract with the whole Charlie Kirk shooting. And that's another thing right there, right? They mess up all these investigations, but they try to say that and blame the left, quote unquote, the left, for the violence taking place. But no, no, it's the right. And every time somebody's tried to assassinate somebody on the right, including the president of the United States, it's been a Trump supporter up until the last person who was, taken out on his Florida grounds when he wasn't there. The Secret Service took him out. They took him out. It was a Trump supporter. The guy in Pennsylvania was a Trump supporter. Remember when he had the stupid thing on his ear when he supposedly got hit and nicked in the ear? That was a Trump supporter. The guy in Florida, after the Trumps, all these people committing violence are Trump supporters, whether it's violence against Trump or violence against the people, including people like ourselves, people of color, right? Brown people, indigenous people, or any of us. Trump supporters, MAGA supporters. Yes, that is a mental illness that's got to be checked. So again, if you got people in your family who are going down that road, please, try to get them help, because they need some serious help. Right now, he's gone to cult status. Right now, he is looking to be more like Mussolini. And I'd hate to say it, but this was going to end up being like Adolf Hitler, because he's doing some things that Hitler probably wish he'd done, right? And he doesn't care. He's an authoritarian ruler with the wrong agenda, that's for sure. Because you can have an authoritarian ruler who actually knows how to rule. Look at Fidel Castro. Look at the Mao Zedong. Look at all these leaders who are authoritarians yet knew what they were doing. Joseph Stalin. When you look at some of these authoritarians, some people might disagree with them, but damn, they give the people the basics. They did the things for the people, and now what? We got when you get authoritarian leaders with a racist, genocidal agenda, with a rich person's pedophilic mentality. What do you think you're going to get? Because now you're an authoritative leader with the wrong agenda items, with the wrong priorities. And this man, who created this thing called MAGA, is not just setting this world on fire, but he's starting with people right here. So again, check your family, check your friends. They got to get, you got to talk to them. So I wanted to do this today as a brown beret. I wanted to do this today as an organizer, and I wanted to do this today as an educator, because there's a lot that some people do not know about. There's a lot of people out there who still support this crazy man and his movement. And we got to tell the truth, everybody. We got to tell the truth that this war of Iran is now backfiring on in his face, and he's hiding. He is hiding. This coward is hiding. Doesn't want to show his face to the families whose sons are dying, daughters are dying out there. Doesn't want to show his face that people are starving in the streets. He just wants to do what he wants to do, and then go do what, sing YMCA or something crazy stupid at his home in Florida. I wanted to come to you and just do this not as something that I talking about, because the truth is, I don't like talking about this stuff. I'd rather be out there with the people. I was out there yesterday, doing helping do security for a protest that they put on here locally in town once the invasion took on happened. And I don't mind being out there with the people. I'd rather be out there, to be honest, everybody. But when it comes down to some of this education, there's a lot of people, Latinos for Trump. Those who voted for Trump, I'm gonna do a whole thing. These people who voted for Trump, Chicanos for Trump, Latinos for Trump, pendejos for Trump. That's what they are. Those people who still support him, they're still out there supporting Trump. And those who now realize how they screwed up because maybe their mothers or their fathers or heck, them probably are going to get deported. Those people who still are out there, they need education because some of them are, I don't know where they get their information from, but they're obviously not educated. And I'm not saying that if you don't have an education that you know good. No, no. You could know a lot without having gone to formal schooling. You can know a lot without having to have a degree. Like I like to say, that PhD just simply stands for pendejo has a degree. If you don't do anything with it, if you don't have it, for the right purposes, because it doesn't just belong to you. And then there's those who don't have an education but do know what's going on because they keep up with the issues. They keep up with the issues. The people I know from Mexico, the people I know from across around the world who don't have an education, man, they keep up with the issues. You don't have to be an educated, quote unquote, person to know right from wrong, to know what is right, and to spot and see a clown running a country, a killer clown. Don't get that twisted. This guy is not just a clown; he's a killer clown. That's what makes him dangerous. It doesn't take an educated person, quote unquote, to see through him. Matter of fact, a lot of people who are not educated know what's happening. Unfortunately, the same people who are uneducated are the same ones sometimes that can't speak up because they probably don't have documentation. They fear deportation. Some of them maybe didn't go to college or even high school because they went to prison, so they didn't get that education. But they know what's up. They know what's up, but they too have a lot to risk. They got, and then some people just so tired to beat down, but they know what's up. So yeah, it's not about the education as much as it is about being informed and knowing what you're talking about. So again, I asked the question, and I started this out today asking the question: where is Donald Trump after attacking Iran? Where is Donald Trump? Why is he hiding from the public? Why is he loves that camera? He loves those microphones. Why is he hiding from the public? Because it blew up in his face, and he's been trying to distract for a long time. And now he's got his reason to stay in office, or at least one big one. Because if he started up this war as a way to cancel the elections under the U.S. Constitution, unfortunately, he can do that. He will be able to do that, especially with a Congress and a Supreme Court who are mainly Republicans. They're dominated by right wingers, and they're going to support what he does. So we got to keep our fight up, raza, gente. People, we got to keep fighting. We got to stick together, organize with our black and our brown brothers, our black brothers and sisters, our Asian, and yes, even our white brothers and sisters. Let's do this together because we can't do it alone. We wrong is wrong, and injustice is injustice, regardless of who's suffering it. And we got to support each other, but we also got to stay informed, so know what's happening with the issues. Um, I know this has gone on for a while here, but I'm telling you, everybody, that his invasion of Iran is probably his reason to stay in power and steal the elections going into 2026 and 2030. And if that's the case, we got a long battle ahead of us because without the elections, what do we got, right? What do we got? The other options I'll talk about later. But right now, just let everybody know, build up that courage that I talked about. Build up, that courage if you're out there and you haven't spoken up. If you would like to speak up, join the people out there in the protest. Go hold up a sign, yes, or go march with the people, or learn more about what's really going down and why we should oppose this war, the invasion of Iran. Because again, his whole thing was to stay in office, to stay in power, and if not in office, to stay in power and have his political party continue to rule. And that way he doesn't go to prison. Just like Bibi Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, both trying to stay out of prison. The rich and the wealthy, these powerful people can't keep getting away with it. We got to rise up and organize and definitely educate ourselves, but then organize as a block of people because we won't do this alone. So again, he's hiding from the cameras. This coward invaded a country illegally, and now he's hiding from the cameras. Where the hell is he?